So, good evening to everybody. This evening we are continuing to work on a 2015 Expedition EL 4x4. We're working this evening to pull the strut off of the vehicle. I already have the rotor off. And you can see that in my last video on how to take the rotor off. I already have the brake caliper hanging here. I have a hanger already pre-positioned there to hold up the front tie rod whenever we take that off. And so basically what has happened is, as you can see, that shock has gone bad and it's leaking. So we're going to go ahead and pull it off. Start by removing this. This is 8mm. Now, I know I've watched videos on YouTube for various different things, and one of the things that I've always noticed was that most oftentimes, whoever was doing the work would go, okay, we need to move this, or we need to remove this. Well, and then it would cut to a scene that the item was already removed. So I will give you the option to go ahead and fast forward through this part, or you can just watch me take this off with the manual tool. So there's a couple of things that we've got to take off in order to get this shock or this strut off. We have to remove this tie rod in, this outside tie rod in. We do have to remove the knuckle from the upper ball joint. And on the other side, I actually had to remove the hub bearing assembly and disconnect the four-wheel drive just so I could get the lower A-arm down enough to install the new shock. But we're just going to go through the uninstallation or the uninstalling of that shock, which truthfully I'm going to cut in half right below that coil spring because it makes life a lot easier. So what Ford has done is they have made bolts that go through this bottom strut as part of that shock tower, or at least pressed in. So to attempt to remove this, even after removing the upper A-arm nut, just can't get enough spread in between with the 3-inch bolts that are on the bottom of that shock. So when we get to that point, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off. So the next part we're going to remove are the bolts on top. Those are 18mm bolts. I've actually already broke those loose a little bit because they are a bit difficult to get to, but I have not yet removed those. What I did also remove is this little protector here. Use my interior tool that I have for the interior of the vehicle just to pull it off. I'll be putting that back on. Probably one of the last things that I do. I do have an air ratchet, but it's a bit difficult to get up in here. Just so I make sure that everything comes off appropriately. Let's go ahead and use the manual tools. So now those 3 top nuts are off. Again, those are 18 millimeters. On the bottom, those are also 18 millimeters. But I am going to use an impact to remove those. And those are off. Much faster with the impact. This nut, which is a lower ball joint, or excuse me, upper ball joint nut, and the tie rod end are both 21 millimeter. Let's see if we can pull this off real quick. Came off pretty easy. Don't want to lose that. Go ahead and put that back on. As you know, 20 millimeter is also a 13/16. Make sure to set these over to the side, keeping them clean so that you don't misplace them. Couple taps, it's a 2-pound sledgehammer, and that will come right out. Again, go ahead and support that with your hanger. So the next major obstacle is that bad boy right there. As you can see, it's a little loose already. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it in half with the Sawzall. It saved me a long time of fighting with it. There's a lesson there. Never assume that your battery is going to last through your entire video. But I have the fix for that. It is a plug-in Sawzall. And we will be right back on track here shortly.